I am 61 years old, and I want to give you the best advice that I wish I knew in my 40s. And most people don't know this. And this has nothing to do with avoiding starch, sugar, or seed oil, or missing a workout. It's something much stranger. It's actually a nutrient deficiency. And it's classified as non-essential. And I'm going to tell you why that is, because it actually is very essential. And there's really no RDA on this at all. But based on some hardcore data, we need like 15 grams per day. Our body makes 3 grams. In our diet, most people get between 1.5 and 2 grams. And that leaves us in the red or in the hole by 10 grams of this nutrient every single day. So what is this nutrient? Glycine. And it's classified as non-essential merely because the body makes it. Any amino acid that the body makes is considered non-essential, but they never asked, how much do you actually need? And here's what you need to know. You don't get a lot of glycine when you eat meat, eggs, fish. Most of the glycine we get comes from collagen. And here's where the problem is. Long ago, our ancestors consumed animals nose to tail. Now we don't eat nose to tail. We do eat meat, but it's very tender, so it doesn't have a lot of collagen. An average tender steak is like between 1 to 2, maybe 3% collagen. So it's a very tiny amount of collagen, but 30% of all of our body protein is collagen. So the question is, where are we getting our collagen? Well, we're not. Glycine is a foundational amino acid. It's the smallest amino acid. It's the oldest amino acid, dated back like 3.8 billion years ago. And one of the most respected nutrition scientists in this field, Dr. Alan Jackson, out of the University of Southampton, he's written that there's 20 amino acids and only 3 of them should be called non-essential. And glycine wasn't part of the 3. But I'm going to tell you right now, 95% of adults are running on a shortage of this amino acid chronically. The way the body deals with nutrients is it will triage the nutrient. So it'll allocate a nutrient to the most important survival purposes first, and it will not allocate certain nutrients to things that are not as essential, like right now, for survival. And that's called triage. And so if you don't really have sufficient amounts, the body's just going to supply the absolute most important essential functions first. And that would be red blood cells. One of the key factors that helps build heme, which is the protein in red blood cells, is glycine. Super important because if you don't have heme, you can't carry oxygen and you die. The next place it's going to allocate is to something just as important, your DNA and your RNA. These are the blueprints that actually need to be there to have you reproduce a cell. No DNA, no RNA, your body ceases to exist. So a lot of people ask me, what supplements do I recommend? Now, of course, I'm not biased of my own high-quality supplement line, but if you go to Amazon and type Dr. Berg supplements, you'll find more information. The next vital thing that glycine will feed is bile salts. Without glycine, you can't make bile salts. Now, bile salts help you break down fats. They help to extract the fat-soluble nutrients in food like vitamin A, D, E, K1, K2, omega-3 fatty acids. They also help prevent microbes from growing in your small intestine, preventing something called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. The next thing that's kind of a gray area that the body considers very important is glutathione. This is the antioxidant in your liver that helps you break down toxins. Every time you drink coffee, alcohol, junk foods, you get exposed to poisons, preservatives, etc. Glycine is needed to help you make glutathione. So now this is a gray area. This is where the triage starts to go the opposite direction and not fortify as much as these things right here. So depending on how much you have in your body, it may or may not give enough to support glutathione. And this explains a lot because not everyone has the capacity to deal with poisons and detoxify poisons. And it could be just because they're deficient in glycine. But let's keep going down the list. GABA. What is GABA? GABA is a neurotransmitter that is the brake pads for your nervous system. It's the thing that helps you go to sleep at night. And this probably explains why so many people are deficient in GABA. They can't sleep, they're wired, they're nervous, they can't relax, they have anxiety. What about hyperactive kids, right? Low GABA. Why? Because they don't have enough glycine. I mean, think about this. How many children do you know that eat nose to tail, that eat the cartilage, the skin on the fish or the skin on the chicken, or consume bone broth? Not many of them. Now look at this next one. Your immune system is dependent on glycine, especially a cell called the macrophage. This is the cell that is in the frontline defense, and even when the macrophage dies, it releases glycine to turn off the inflammatory switch. But if there's not enough glycine in the macrophage, there's nothing that turns off the inflammation. And then they end up on medications when they don't know deeper underneath the hood, they need more glycine. So a lot of people ask me, what supplements do I recommend? Now, of course, I'm not biased of my own high quality supplement line, but if you go to Amazon and type Dr. Berg supplements, you'll find more information. And then we have the skin. I mean, look at how many people are aging prematurely. So if you only have so much glycine, the skin's not going to get it. Okay, that's low on the list. Your collagen starts to go down in the fascia, so you lose body shape and things start sagging in the body because we don't have enough of that. And then we get tendons. Your tendons will be susceptible to being injured, especially if you put them under a lot of stress. And then we have cartilage loss, right? People blame it on just wear and tear, but is that really what's causing like the need for a new hip or degeneration of a joint? And then we have bones, right? Most of the protein in your bones is collagen. Now, what's super interesting about this topic and myself is when I was in high school, my bones were very, very fragile. My diet sucked. And I was literally a junk food junkie. And I had all sorts of problems with fractures and injuries and chronic inflammation. I mean, I had severe arthritis in my fingers when I was 28. I had severe problems with sleep. I couldn't sleep. I used to get sick almost all the time. I was severely deficient in glycine because I literally consumed no collagen whatsoever, no nose to tail. I didn't do organ meats. I did meat and eggs, but that's it. I wouldn't eat anything else. And then we have arteries. Arteries are almost all collagen. Think about how many people have problems with their arteries. It's an epidemic. High blood pressure, clogging of arteries. You need high quality glycine to build high quality arteries. Then we have the gut lining, which also needs glycine. This is why bone broth and collagen are really good to heal a leaky gut. Then we have ligaments, which are things that connect bone to bone. Personally, I had a lot of problems with ligaments. I used to sprain my ankle all the time, like there was no strength or stability in my ligaments. You need glycine for hair. You need glycine for nails. But what they don't know is that collagen powder also is involved in all of these and all of these right here. They might not feel their immune system improving or their tendons growing or their body detoxifying better or more bile salts being produced. So this is a perfect example of how modern day diet doesn't match what our bodies used to eat long ago. We used to live on nose to tail, and now we don't. We like tender meats, okay? We don't like to chew things with too much gristle or too much collagen. Meat, by the way, is very low in glycine. It's high in other amino acids, but not glycine. Also, eggs are low. Fish is low. So even when someone becomes a carnivore and consumes mostly steak and they don't consume nose to tail, they can also be deficient in glycine. Vegans are deficient in glycine. A lot of kids are deficient in glycine. Older people are deficient in glycine. I'm not recommending taking a glycine supplement. I recommend just get more collagen from food, get some good high quality collagen powder and put it in your coffee or put it in a shake, but just make sure that it has the cofactor vitamin C because collagen doesn't work without vitamin C. So a lot of people ask me, what supplements do I recommend? Now, of course, I'm not biased of my own high quality supplement line, but if you go to Amazon and type Dr. Berg supplements, you'll find more information.